Mark and set it go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the April 4, 2023 council meeting to order. This meeting being held with the public, with benefit of public notice as required by the Open Public Meeting Act. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Papero.
Here.
Ms. Phillips.
Here.
Mr. Tye.
Here.
Mr. Carabelli.
Here.
Mr. Whalen.
Here. Stand for flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we please remain standing? Dear God, bless our Hamilton community. May we continue to assist our seniors, encourage our youth, and build all neighborhoods with the love that you taught us. May we also pray for those confronted with despair and loss. And we, as a government, assist those in need. We ask all of these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Next, we have discussion item number 1. I'm Eugenia Polos, Director of Finance, CFO, to give an overview of the introduction of the calendar year 2023 municipal budget.
Thank you. Questions, council? Council members?
I guess you have to do that.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, picking it up.
Yep.
Okay. And members of the public, good evening. We just want to introduce the 2023 budget for Hamilton Township. And the overall budget is well within the guidelines of the appropriation cap and the levy cap of the state of New Jersey. This is the third year in a row that there is no tax increase, and the budget was a little bit challenging because we had very, very high income.
You can't, maybe closer to the mic or we can turn it up a little.
Are you
Is it
getting,
on?
Yeah.
you're picking her up?
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Can you hear me now? Yeah. Okay. The budget was it's the third year in a row that we had a very, very good surplus. The budget was very challenging because we experienced all throughout the state of New Jersey huge increases in certain areas like the pension, the PRS, and also the PFRS, which is the pension for the fire and police. The PFRS had 19.13% increase this year. And as you can see, normally the budget, we're not supposed to be going over the 2%, so that was a huge increase. So it was a challenge. And the PRS was at 8.41% increase. The group insurance also, we had an increase of almost 9%. And we went out to bid with solid waste, and that's something that because of COVID and everything, it came out like 50% higher than the previous year. The budget overall, the appropriations, they were increased by 6.1 million. That's a 4% increase. The general revenues were increased by 9.79, 4,643,000. The amount to be raised by taxes was increased by 1.19, 1.2 million. However, the net valuation of the town as a whole went up that 1.19%. So the increase in the amount to be raised by taxation was just exactly the increase in the valuation of the town. So the end result is no increase in taxes at the municipal level. As you know, we have no choice when it comes to the library tax. The library tax is given to us by the state. That the library tax went up 10.21%. So what this means for the average homeowner in Hamilton Township, the average home is $216,300. It will be a $7 increase for the year, and that is mostly due because of the library tax. Because at the municipal level, there's no increase. On the revenue side, we had, as you all were made aware, we went out for an RFP for banking. And the difference in the revenue is interest rates have gone up, but at the same time in the banking, now the banks are looking for municipal funds. So we took advantage of that. We went for an RFP, and the result is going to be like over a 3% increase in the money that we have in interest. On top of that, with the RFP, we got a proposal that is not giving us any service fees. It's not giving any, there's no, basically, they don't hold any money. We're getting an interest rate on the first penny that we have in the bank in every single money. So we are in this budget, we got approval from the CA, and we are expecting a $2,475,000 in revenue from the interest income. And that we have to get an approval because we didn't have any interest income last year. We also, we're also using over $1 million surplus. Like I said before, we had a very, very good surplus this past year and the year before, and we're using less than 50% of the surplus that we had. And we also included the new pilot that we have on Lambertville Road. We included $800,000 in revenue for that pilot. So overall, that's basically all I have for the budget. Do you have any questions or anything?
Any questions from anybody from council?
Just a couple of points. So the FRS and the PERS, that, if I'm not mistaken, those increases were thrown on us late in the game, pretty recent, and they didn't give us any notice. They just threw them at us, right?
Yes, that is correct.
So it's unfortunate, but you guys did a great job at fixing that.
It was very challenging because of that.
Sorry. Just want to commend you on that because I know that, changing the rules while you're playing a game isn't easy, and you guys seem to, hit the ground running and react well with it.
We have a great team here.
Yes, you do.
We all work together, and it was a pleasure working with everybody.
And the library tax, that would be the same no matter if we were associated with the county libraries or not associated. Either way, no matter what library system you're with, we're still getting hit with that tax.
Yes,
right?
it is
Okay.
given to us. It's given to us by the state.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And just a note on that, the library tax went up a large percentage across the state. So it was not a revaluation, the valuation that they do at the state level that gives you your taxable valuation. That's what's based on, that's what they use to base the amount that we pay the library on. And that's across the board, across the state. So we looked at all of the increases. We looked at everybody just to see, was it an anomaly here or in Mercer County or anywhere? No, it was across the board throughout the state. So it's not much we can do about that one either. As Eugenia pointed out, that number's given to us, and that's what we have to do.
And that's why I'd ask, because sometimes we have people that ask, why don't we join the county system? It's, and I just wanted to point out that it's very good because no matter which way we would have went, we would have been hit with the same fees.
Yeah, and also
Thank you
just
for
to remind, as you all know, we went out for a bond anticipation note back in February. And because of the amount of the bond anticipation note and all the requirements now from the different agencies, the TD Securities is the one that won the bid for the bond anticipation note, but they require for Hamilton to go for rating, and that's something that we were not planning. So we went for a rating with S&P, and the rating that we received back then, it was very good. They didn't increase our rating, but it was overall they were very happy with what the Hamilton Township is doing. They increase in the surplus, as well as they know that we're trying to build up some of the reserves, especially for accumulated, the storm trust, and certain reserves like that. And so they look at that very favorably, and they said if we keep up in that same, in the same line, maybe in another 2 years or a year, we can get a rate increase. So, any other questions?
Yeah. Anybody else under council? Yeah. No, after council comments, and sure.
Jenny, thank you for your, your presentation and overview this evening on our budget. Is there any way we can forecast in like future years what the pension payment's going to look like, or is that something that there's no way we can have? It's.
Can I have a question? Because wasn't this due to the investments didn't come back, the rate of return didn't come back the way it should, and that's why the increases for the towns came forward, correct? That's why our portion went up?
That's some of it.
And that happens all over, right?
Yeah.
You know, in private industry and public industry, I'm sure they rely on investment return.
Oh, okay. And I guess the other question I had was regarding the library fees. Do we see this as something this was a one-time evaluation, or like of the, and do we expect that this is going to hit us again in 2024, or?
I think they do this routinely, right? But because, remember, the market went a little crazy recently, and so this is really just kind of truing up that value to the market value. So it's no surprise that there was an increase in our taxable valuation, and again, that just does that. So depending on what happens in the future, right, it could go either way, really. But for right now, this is what we got for this year.
Okay.
And that would fall in the same with your healthcare, right? I don't know what you anticipate yearly increases, but we all know it probably goes up anywhere from 8 to 12% a year, correct?
Yeah, but at least we're not in the state healthcare,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because that went up
that went up
over 20%, right?
20%.
What happens with that library tax revenue?
That's turned over to the library.
Now it's on. What happens with that library
It's
tax revenue?
turned over to the library. We're basically just billing it and collecting it like we do for the county tax, like we do for the school tax.
But the state tells us the rate at which we,
Correct. The state tells
How
us
much?
the
Levy that.
amount. Yep.
The council members, they have a choice if they want to contribute more, but the state basically saying this is the minimum that you have to give them.
And one other question I just had on the bank that we proceed with. When did that start? I know which bank it is, but I mean, I could.
Yeah, it's we decided it was First Bank, the one. Everybody was very aggressive. We had 9 responders.
Right, I remember seeing that.
And everybody was pretty aggressive, so we gave it to Ken with the government strategy to do the whole evaluation. So in this way, we try to be very, very objective. And he did an evaluation with the interest rates. What
I
about
saw
the
that.
interest rates
I
go
appreciate
down,
that. That
and
was
as
very
well as
thorough.
the higher one. And but we used for the armored car service, because that's who picks up all the deposits. It's going to be June 1st. However, because of the high interest and they were losing revenue, we started like Monday. We already transfer the online payments in the website for taxes as well as sewer.
Oh, great.
So those 2 accounts, now all those deposits are going to First Bank.
Excellent.
And we're going to go any accounts where there's no cash required because of the armored car service. We will, between now and June, we will try to move them over to take advantage of that.
Excellent.
that was a multi-year proposal, correct?
Yes.
What's our obligation under that? I mean, do we have an obligation to stay? If market conditions change and we're able to find a better deal somewhere else, we can go out. We could make it. Okay.
But just to give you, we had a Kearney Bank, one of the officers from government banking, he called last week. He said, can I come over and take a look at the proposals that you received? I said, of course. I mean, and he went through all the proposals. He goes, definitely. He goes, now I can see why you're going with them. It was very, very good proposal.
Excellent. Good to hear. Thank you.
Any other questions from council?
I don't have any questions. It's like a boom mic going, wow. I just wanted to say thank you, Genia, and to John. Oh, I can put it over here. Okay. I turned it off. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to thank you, and I was making notes about the almost $2.5 million in interest that we're going to gain. from this new banking arrangement. So I just wanted to commend you and your department on that as well. And we look forward to going through all the details.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Eugenia.
Thank you.
Before we take public comments from the public, I'll announce the budget workshop date so everybody is aware of it. So the first date is Monday, April 10th. We'll hear from Department of Fire and Department of Finance. Wednesday, April 12th, Department of Health, Recreation, Senior, and Veteran Services, the Business Administration, and the Office of the Mayor. Monday, April 17th, Department of Law, Department of Water Pollution Control, Municipal Clerk's Office, Town Council. Thursday, 4/20, Department of Public Works, Department of Community and Economic Development, Department of Police, and Municipal Court. And Thursday, May 4th, is a hold date in case we have to bring anybody back in. And with that, we'll take comments from the public. Good. Go.
John, it's 9432 Trinity Avenue, Cornell Heights. I was hoping you'd go a little further with that library deal. Where's the money? You said the money goes back to our library?
Yes.
To buy books?
Well, they have a whole budget. They have a whole budget that they use these funds for, just like every other organization.
Personnel, all of it comes out of that tax.
Because I thought our taxes, that would just be appropriated in there for the library and,
So
for,
it
that's the other
always
thing.
has been, and so a handful of years ago, I don't remember what year it was, the state changed the way that we show that. And so it's always been calculated this way by a certain percentage, and it was always just a line item in our budget. And I said, I forget the year, but a few years ago, the state required us now to pull that out separately and to actually show it separately on your tax bill also, right? So I think they just wanted to draw attention to the fact that your tax dollars that come to the municipality were also going for the library. So it's
Because it
just
sounded like they were
isolated.
taking the money and I'm thinking, what are they going to do with it? We need the books, not them.
So, but we always had an appropriation in our budget for the library that went directly to them,
Oh, to the county,
to the
or
library.
to the library.
Yep,
And there's a double sure that they get the exact money they're supposed to
that's
get.
correct.
Okay, seems like a roundabout way to do it, but such is like, okay, thank you.
Thanks, Janice. Anyone else from the public before we move on to the consent agenda? Yes, please if you could state your name and address.
My name is Allison Dixon. I live at 190 Wilford Avenue. And I'm curious to know a little bit more about the breakdown of the 20% increase in for police. I noticed that in the paper last week or whatever, and it kind of stood out to me that that's quite, it's a sizable percentage of an increase, more than any other department. And I'd like to get more detail on it. Is there a rise in criminal behavior that would call for that? What motivates that level of an increase?
So we'll have to get you that information, but I want to make sure that we get your contact information so that I can get that to you.
I will do that.
And I'd like specifically to know too, right, what with police, I don't recall what was up 20%. It might be the pension that we were talking about, that's for police and fire, because that went up significantly. But I want to make sure that we're getting you the right.
Yeah, I didn't hear that.
And if I may, right, and that'll all be addressed when we go over through the budget hearings. We'll be able to get a more definitive answer for any increase. Right. Well, thank you for that. Okay. No, I know you didn't, but thank you for your comments. Anybody else from the public? If not, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
For your consideration, Communication C1 is a joint commendation recognizing April as Autism Awareness Month.
I'm sorry, I said consent agenda, communication.
I knew what you meant.
May I have a copy of the,
It's right there.
thank you. So the recognition of Autism Awareness Month, whereas autism spectrum disorder is a developmental disability that can cause significant social, communication, and behavioral challenges, and whereas there's often nothing about how people with ASD look that sets them apart from other people, and whereas people with ASD may communicate, interact, behave, and learn in ways that are different from neurotypical people, the learning, thinking, and problem-solving abilities of people with ASD can range from gifted to severely challenged. And whereas the diagnosis of ASD now includes several conditions that used to be diagnosed separately, and whereas about 1 in 68 children has been identified with autism spectrum disorder, according to estimates, and ASD is about 4.5 times more common among boys than among girls. And whereas people with ASD often have problems with social, emotional, and communication skills, they might repeat certain behaviors and might not want change in their daily activities. And whereas signs of ASD begin during early childhood and typically last throughout a person's life, and whereas the blue forget-me-not flower represents autism to raise awareness, and whereas during the month of April, we strive to promote autism acceptance, inclusion, and self-determination for all, be it therefore resolved by Mayor Jeffrey S. Martin and the West Hamilton Township Council that we do hereby proclaim April as Autism Awareness Month in the Township of Hamilton and urge all residents to become better educated on the subject of autistic spectrum disorders.
Thank you, Councilman Ty.
Communication, excuse me, C2 is a receipt of documentation to update alcoholic beverage control license 1103-33048. It is G&A Associates located at 3800 Quaker Bridge Road, Units 3 and 4. This is just the update of the lending institution on file.
Council President, I'll make a motion to move on C1 and C2.
I'll second that.
Mr. Papero?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips? Yes. Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 5-0. Next, consent agenda items CA1 through CA21 for your consideration.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'll just go over a few of these, and then if council has questions on any others, feel free. CA1, as part of the Township's Green Acres due diligence process, the Township has completed 2 property appraisals and has a signed option agreement with the owner to purchase lots 35 and 37 for $188,000. The subject lots consist of 32.5 acres located on Basin Road at the northeast corner of the township. The township is seeking council approval authorizing the submittal of a grant application in which the township would be seeking a 40% grant reimbursement from the county and a 50% grant reimbursement from the state. If them grants come through, we'll be, responsible for the 10% left, which amounts to $18,800. So that's on the one consent agenda item. Consent agenda item 11 is a resolution authorizing an alternate award full disclosure contract with Haldeman Ford for the purchase of a 2022 SD 250 4x4 Super Cab with snowplow for Department of Public Works, Division of Parks for the amount of $53,071 maximum. It comes out of the capital. CA12 is similar to CA11, which is also to purchase a 2022 Ford SD 250 4x4 Super Cab with snowplow from Haldeman Ford in the amount of $56,527 maximum. That comes out of 2020 capital equipment, capital vehicles and equipment. CA 13 and 14, both of these resolutions are authorizing an alternate award, full disclosure, with Haldeman Ford for the purchase of 2 2022 Ford SD 350 Super Cab trucks with snow plows in the amount of $55,024 maximum and $55,280 $89 maximum. Just a note, these 4 are replacing vehicles that are in most cases upwards to anywhere from 12 years or older. They see that maintenance repairs on all these vehicles have been very excessive over the last year or so. They've had a hard time, like everybody's had a hard time getting vehicles, because of the chip problems So it's a good opportunity for us to purchase these 2022 trucks at this time. They've said they've been spending anywhere up to $15,000 a year just in maintenance of them vehicles. So it's time to probably take them off the road. Probably some of them are, I don't even think we could repair them anymore. And CA-15 is authorizing an award for alternate disclosure contract with Sanofi Pasteur for purchase of 2023 and 24 influenza vaccines for the Division of Health in the amount of $47,749.67. And that's about all I have as far as comments. If anybody from council has any comments on the rest of the consent agenda item. I know we have two large items, which looks like it's coming out of water pollution control. That's CA 1617. These are two separate projects, infrastructure work that's got to be done, one at a pump station and probably at the main headquarters of WPC.
Those were monies that were already approved.
The applications, yes, the ordinances for the projects have already been done. This is so that we can make applications through the iBank, the New Jersey iBank, in order to finance these. So we won't be financing them if this goes through the traditional way through bonds or notes. We're going to be doing it through loans through the iBank, which is specifically for this type of project. That's a long process, and this is just one of the parts of that process.
Are the rates different with the iBank?
Generally, because it's pooled together with so many others that are so many other projects, and they're usually pretty large, the projects.
Right.
So generally, we can get either as good or better a rate than we do if we go out on our own.
Do we usually go for the full amount, or do we have to put down,
No, this can be the full amount, and because it's through our sewer utility, we don't have to put a down payment down on it anyway,
Okay,
right? Because it's self-liquidating debt.
thank you. Any other questions from council regarding any of the consent agenda items?
Yeah, just on CA 11 through CA 14.
Yes.
Is the administration looking at any grant programs for electric heavy-duty vehicles?
We are, and we're trying to, as you know, we're going to have our first electric vehicle charging station with ribbon cutting. Is it
Tomorrow.
No, I
okay?
think
I didn't know if it was
It's tomorrow.
okay.
And we're also looking to go out to RFP to get another contractor to come in and be able to do that same thing. Electric vehicle charging station throughout the town. So the next part of it is to look at our fleet and try to figure out that when we're replacing these vehicles, can we start doing that with electric vehicles? So we have to have the infrastructure first to be able to maintain them and charge them. And then once we have a good sense of that, and as you know, we have a very big project that we're doing with a new municipal complex. And so there's plans there to have municipal vehicle charging stations as well. So this will all happen. It's probably about a 5 or so 6-year plan.
Hoping to see multiple green initiatives in the construction of the building.
And just a point of clarification, the event had to move the EV veiling of that charging station veiling that had to move from April 5th to April 12th because
Yeah, I thought it was next year.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, no, it was April 5th. You were right, but then it got changed because the ordinance won't be in effect.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions from council regarding the consent agenda? Not a motion's in order. Oh, sorry. Let me get back to the public here. Anybody from the public would like to discuss the consent agenda? I apologize. Sometimes I get off track. Go ahead, Janice.
Okay, that's Scotty for
I love when you talk. That's
432
okay.
Trinity Avenue, Cornell Heights. Okay, Basin Road. This is land that's going to stay open space. And exactly where on Basin Road is it? They're not taking over Mazur's,
I think that might be.
gardening place that's closed or anything like that, are they?
No,
There's
it was
two
a
lots
tree
in it,
farm.
yeah.
Yeah, one was a tree farm.
Right.
Oh, the
And one was, it said in the information that was given to me was
Because there's some kind of, they just like.
a former tree.
The trucks keep going in and out of there.
Okay.
Tree
One was
farm
a
then?
former tree farm, the one property I remember reading, and the other one was, half of it was wooded, it said, or something like that.
Yep.
It was it wasn't fully wooded, but,
Are they connected? Yeah, they're connected,
yes,
right?
I could see, yes.
Okay, so I know where the tree farm is, okay.
Mhm.
So that will stay open then? So we don't get some big company in there or something, because they were gonna bring the big tractors and trailers in there until the road got put that you can't have tractors and trailers. So that kind of killed that thing, so all they do is bring the cabs down now.
Yeah, part of the one property abuts to the Aspen Creek.
Yes, that was the other thing.
Alrighty, and the other thing was, on CA10, I assume that's rustling, it's getting waterproofing services,
Yes.
Yes.
because they're the newest firehouse though, aren't they?
You know what? It probably is.
Because I just went past it to go to the cemetery the other day and I'm thinking, man,
Well,
that is such a
yeah.
nice big giganto place.
Hamilton, the new Hamilton is the newest one, then Russell was before that.
Oh, okay. Alright, so they're just getting waterproofing.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public on the consent agenda? Seeing none, the motion's in order.
Council President, I'll make a motion to move on consent agenda items CA1 through CA21.
Second that?
On the motion, Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
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 Yes. Any questions from council?
No, sir.
On ordinance number one? No? Seeing none, I'll open it up to the public. Anyone from the public like to discuss or make a comment on ordinance number one under second reading, 23-012? Seeing none, I'll move for a motion.
Council President, I'll close the public comment portion and move on second reading and second reading ordinance number 1, 23-012.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Phillips? Yes.
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 Ordinance 223-013, ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, chapter 268, housing standards, section 268-3, inspection prior to change in occupancy, certificate of approval. Second reading and public hearing.
Any questions from council regarding ordinance 23-013? Seeing none, I'll open it up to the public for any questions or comments regarding ordinance number 23-013.
As someone who has.
Can you, wait, just get to the mic, that way they make sure to get recording.
Allison Dixon, Dixon, 190 Wilfred Avenue. As someone who has dealt with properties that have multiple dwellings over the years, I'm trying to understand the requirements, these new requirements, how they're different from the existing requirements, and what value is purported to be delivered by implementing these new, I guess,
So,
procedures.
I'll jump in. So, there are some safety measures that are made explicit in language that has been added to the ordinance. So it spells out smoke alarms must be installed, carbon monoxide alarms, a fire extinguisher is required. And if there's a fireplace, that must be determined to have been properly maintained. So it's primarily safety measures.
Right, and it also differentiates between the types of inspections for homes that are owners occupied, selling to other owner occupied versus rental properties. So in other words, a single family home being sold to another single family homeowner. There are specific things that it delineates for that versus rental properties, which have, multiple
Have to be in
dwellings.
certain condition before the sale can go through, is that what you're
For
saying?
certificate of occupancy, yep.
Okay. I guess that'll happen.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments under ordinance number 223-013? Seeing none?
Council President,
Okay.
sorry, Pat. Seeing no other members of the public wishing to comment, I move that we close the public comment portion and move ordinance 23-013 on second reading.
I'll second the motion.
On the motion, Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Mrs. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Todd?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ordinance 2-50, second reading, public hearing. Ordinance 323-014, is an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 268, Housing Standards, to add Section 268-19 at SEC for lead-based paint testing. This is second reading and public hearing.
Any further questions from council regarding ordinance number 3?
No, sir.
Also open up that to the public then on ordinance number 3, which is 23-014. Please.
One quick question, and I have to be honest, I have not read completely all of the rules of rental. But I do know, when I lived in Jersey City and rented properties out, that they typically something that was understood had to be done before you could have a tenant move in. And I'm curious to know if this is really new. This has never been a part of the requirement for housing in Hamilton?
Yes, it's always been important, without a doubt, but there was a new state law that did certain requirements above and beyond just sort of what our inspectors looked out for, because there's specific tests and equipment to really determine. I mean, if you know a house was built before 1978, you sort of knew that the likelihood was.
And that was my next question.
Right.
Because there's a certain cohort of people who would be impacted by what I feel is something called onus that people who live in housing that's a little more recently built aren't going to have to go through. And the two houses that my parents built on Wilford Avenue back in the 40s have been targeted over the years. Now, I try to be, I'm reticent about bringing up race, but it's real. And I found the older I get, the more I regret not having spoken up about the impact of how racial families impact my community, my family, myself. And I'm at a point now where I feel like I have nothing to lose by telling my truth. We all sit here and go, good enough. As a redheaded man in New York, right, who has committed horrible crimes, all of us, especially people of color, I feel the need to speak up. I know that we're going to be targeted over what you call white city. The politics here took it away from us and added to the athletic days. But I took a move away from here when I graduated Hamilton West in 1969. And I have not intended to come back. I came back for family reasons. So I'm here. I don't want to go on and on, but I will be up one more time.
And that- and
I
that-
wanted to say
and
that,
that's-
I'm not gonna, this is like one thing after the other.
And that's fine, and under public comment, if you'd like to get up and talk some more, but if you want to talk specifically about this ordinance, that's fine, we could continue that, conversation. Or if you want to talk about anything else that you're bringing up, you can bring that up under public comment.
What caused it to become an issue? Has there been a higher incidence of lead-based paint poisoning? There's got to be a reason this is suddenly an issue.
Well, as our,
What the
yep.
data are with regard to lead-based paint.
Right,
poisoning,
so
if there is such
honestly, it wasn't the township finding specific instances where we were overly concerned. It was a new state law that came into effect that then basically rolled down the hill to municipalities. And then so we were given essentially the form, statute, or ordinance that we had to actually incorporate. And so we had some choices about how we wrote it and how we would be able to do the program. And we decided it was best to have it, it would be better to have outside contractors in many ways do it because they have the most up-to-date equipment, the training and so forth. But it was this community, it was the Department of Community Affairs in the state that basically directed us to do this. And so, but yes, as a mother of children, lead paint is not acceptable.
It's not a big deal anymore, honestly.
Well,
I'm of
I
an
don't-
age where I do remember it being a big deal.
When you think about it. Like I said, I
Right.
it's a big deal there.
Yeah.
In the 80s and 90s. So
Yeah,
I don't take it lightly.
I just want to jump in and say that this is something to protect our tenants in Hamilton. And we were forced to do it by the state. It's something that was probably long overdue, but it is something that we should have in place, for there to be, because we do have, a number of a lot of dwellings in Hamilton that are older. And, in some cases, you're going to have lead paint under layers of other paint. So, it's important for the safety of our children and our tenants to have something like this in place.
Well, I would hope that there's some consideration with probably in many cases still afford to invest in having that taken care of and not collecting rent. So that's going to be impactful on a lot of people from a financial standpoint that may end up exacerbating homeless or I'm not saying about the trade-off, do I want to live in a dangerous place or do I want to live on the street? But that's something, that should be considered, the impact of it. Who will be impacted and how much? So, thank you.
Thank you again for your comments. Anybody else from the public wishing to speak on this ordinance? Not, motion's in order.
I'd like to close the public comment portion and move ordinance 323-014 on second reading.
I'll second the motion.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Ordinance 123-015, ordinance amending supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey. Part 2, general legislation, chapter 150, businesses and nonprofit corporation registration, section 150-3, registration. This is first reading and introduction.
Council President, I move ordinance 23-015 on first reading.
I'll second the motion.
On the motion, Mr. Takara?
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
Frye?
Yes.
Carabelli?
Yes.
Yes.
Hamilton acquisition of certain property located on Basin Road and designated as Block 1504, Lots 35 and 37, Hamilton, New Jersey. Purchase price $188,000. Estimated closing costs $3,500. Total amount of funding $191,500. This is first reading and introduction.
Council President, I'll make a motion to move on first reading and introduction, ordinance number 2, 23-016.
I'll second the motion.
On the motion, Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ordinance 2, 23-016 passes on first reading and introduction 5-0. Ordinance 3, 23-017 is an ordinance to release, discharge, and extinguish any and all existing or proposed site rights which have been conveyed to the township for a portion of the property known as Block 1799, part of Lot 4, on the tax map of the Township of Hamilton, County of Mercer, and State of New Jersey. This is first reading and introduction.
Council President, I'll make a motion for introduction of ordinance 3, 23-017.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ordinance 4, 23-018 is an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limit and to establish a cap bank pursuant to New Jersey statute annotated 40A:4-45.14. First reading and introduction.
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance 4, 23-018 on first reading.
I'll second the motion.
On the motion, Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ordinance 4, 23-018 passes on first reading and introduction 5-0. Ordinance 5, 23-019 is an ordinance establishing the Code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 228, Fire Prevention, Article 4, Private Fire Hydrants. This is first reading and introduction.
Council President, I'll make a motion to move on first reading and introduction, ordinance number 5, 23-019.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ordinance 5, 23-019 passes on first reading 5-0. Next, we have the introduction of the calendar year 2023 municipal budget, Resolution 23-186. This is the resolution of introduction and approval of the calendar year 2023 municipal budget.
Council President, I'll make a motion for introduction of the current year 2023 municipal budget, Resolution 1, 23-186.
Second motion.
On the motion, Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
This is 5-0.
No one. That concludes our agenda, and at this time, I'll open up for comments from the public. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's just come back up to the mic, state your name, you get 4 minutes, and whenever you're ready.
Okay, Allison Dixon, 190 Wilford Avenue, 08610. I wanted to ask that you consider the fact that Wilford Avenue is in the middle of an area where all the streets surrounding Wilford have been repaved over the last, I'd say from the last 5 years until now. I have letters and I have hand-stat requests to have Wilford Avenue repaved. It is in dire need, it has been in dire need. It's been patched here and there, there've been diggings for water replacement lines. There's a high level of traffic. And I got a response from one department here saying, oh no, Wilford doesn't have that much traffic. Well, I live right across the street from the Wilson Center, which is another sore spot, because when I grew up, we had a great playground there. having that building across the street. So I deal with parking problems, I deal with noise, they rent it out, and I love the people there. They're doing a great job. That doesn't make it any easier to live across the street from. Insult to injury is the fact that the road is in bad shape. And personally, where at my address, the road actually slopes down my driveway and away from the drainage ditch. So it all flows right into my driveway. So in the winter time, I can go skating, but I don't skate anymore. I'm a little too old for that. And in summer and spring, I guess I could go fishing. I don't know, but it's bad. And I have written to Public Works several times over the years about this. And I noticed years ago when I returned to Hamilton, there was a schedule that would be published as to when the roads were going to be they were scheduled to be repaid. At that time, I think we were supposed to be repaid in 2018 or 19. And every time I checked, it kept moving further and further back. And I'm beginning to take it personally because I had the nerve to write a letter and ask for some information. I tried to go to Public Works and speak to the people there. You can't find it, you can't talk to anybody over there. There's a window and they keep you out of the building that you helped pay for. I want to know why Wilfred Avenue has not been paid. Everything within, I'd say a whole mile around Wilfred Avenue has been paid. It's wrong and I'd like some help getting this done. Because somebody's going to get hurt in front of my house.
Personally, first time I'm hearing about it, but I'll look into it myself. I'll take a ride myself to check it out. And then
Hampstead. There are many from me.
I'd rather go out personally and look at it instead of checking Hampstead. But one of the things that we've tried to do, because one of the things I heard you mention was that they were cutting out part of the roads to do red line or service coming in. One of the problems we had in the past was we would repave a road, right? No sooner get done, the following spring, public service or Trenton Water or Aqua Water would come in, start doing cutouts, and next thing you know, you have a freshly paved road with cutouts. Yeah. So one of the things the township, this council and administration's done is that we wanted to ensure that all cutouts are done prior to paving. That way the road is done, it looks nice and pristine, instead of patchwork after the fact when you spend the money to pave the road, which I think makes total sense. But we'll look into your situation, see what we can find out. There's many roads throughout the township, and I think there's a list of them that we try to make sure that we stay up on top of. They get put in the queue. We actually paid for a system where they go, it's like a GPS, it goes, rides around the township, and it evaluates the road.
Yeah, we have.
We have Parkinson on the northern side. Not a very good traffic road. Beautifully paved over. And then Berg Avenue, same thing. The traffic on Wilfred Avenue, 3 times
So
more.
one of the things that concerned me in what you were telling us is a possible drainage issue. There's standing water. Is that
in front of my driveway?
In front of your driveway in the street?
Yes.
So, Kathy, could we get Chuck to go out and take a look at that?
What's your actual address?
Yes, I'm gonna.
190.
Right. I put that
Right,
down.
right across from Wilson Center.
Okay.
So we're gonna-
Famous driveway that everything is, well, I'm only going to be
Well, yeah.
all day long.
We will. We'll have somebody go out tomorrow and check out that situation in particular. But as was mentioned, and I know that Councilman Ty was probably just going to say this too, I think back in 2020, we did a whole road evaluation where they actually scored that. And so they've been loosely doing their repaving program based on that, those roads with the most need. And so I'd be curious to see how Wilford scored on that. And my sense is that it was already on a list from one of the capital lists, and I'm looking at John, our budget officer, because but I didn't see it on this year's list, but it may have been on last year's list, which we're just getting to
Yeah.
this year, right? If that makes sense, we do the list in one year and then we fund it and do the work usually in the following year.
Well,
But also, as Council President pointed out, the work that's specifically been done by Trenton Water Works for their lead replacement lines, right? To avoid what he was talking about, we've been working with them to try to time it. So even when we've had some roads on a list, if Trenton Water Works, and I'm not picking on them, they just have,
Everybody else is.
but no, they've done what they committed to do in replacing lead lines, and they've done a whole plan for that. And so, and again, it took them a little while to do the plan. So if it turned out that one of the roads was on the list, but they weren't going to get to it until maybe later that year, we timed it. Then we would have to put off the repaving of the road until such time that they did their work first, and then we would do it. So
Okay.
I'm just not sure where Wilfred is in that whole mix. There's so many things to consider in that. But we'll make sure that somebody goes out, council tomorrow, so that they can check
Thank
out
you.
the
Yeah,
on that
because
road.
some things have improved. I beat over everybody's head over the last few years about a couple of vacant properties that were just impossible. I mean, animals were like partying in there, right across the street from the bus stop
Okay.
for Bryce. I still call it Bryce.
Just one further comment before, because the time's up, but one further comment, just so you know, it's not government that holds this up, in a sense. You know, you kind of said government, okay? At a certain time of the year, as the weather changes in the fall, they stop making asphalt. So it's not like they make asphalt year round. Once November, October, depending on the frost, they're not going to pave a road if there's frost conditions. So they'll stop paving for the year. And they won't start a project paving if they feel that it's going to get into that frost season. So it could be delayed a year.
I got you. I know there are many variables, but
Sure.
still, I mean, this has been going on for
Okay.
years in an
Grass
area.
growing out of a crack in the street.
Hmm?
There's grass growing through a crack in the street.
Oh, yeah, we have.
Yeah, if there's a grading issue, that's something that we got to look at.
Right. Yeah. But we'll definitely take a look at it. Thanks for bringing it to our attention again. Anyone else from the public? Janice?
Dennis Knoxville, 3220 Avenue, Cornell Heights. I brought some issues last meeting, and I must say, she definitely has to stay. She's good.
Going to give credit where credit is due to the council, and many of them in particular that went out to the site the very next morning, and we had staff out there next morning as well. So I can't take the full credit. Yes, I did make a few calls, but I'm telling you that this council was very concerned with when you talk about the trash, particularly along that whole area.
And it's a lucky ride.
And
Yeah.
I know I wrote by them today just to make sure it was done, anticipating tonight's meeting, so that we could have a clean bill of health, so to speak. But that in mind, you know, there is little areas, and it doesn't take long, you know, in that area, because of truck traffic or whatever, or people in general. I mean, how many times we ride around the township and see people just throw stuff out their window? They don't care. Disregard of other people's properties. So there'll be another time where they'll have another cleanup in that area again,
Oh,
so.
that's for sure.
So, you know, we have many scheduled areas throughout the township to try and make sure that,
But I was
Okay.
duly impressed. I mean, it was Tuesday, Wednesday, I come home from school and on my answering machine, "Hi, Janice, this is Chief Tazi. I understand you have some questions?" And oh, shoot. Okay. So, got a hold of him with the answers. The next time you have questions, tell me, and I'll come to council, and I'll answer them then and there. I went, okay, and gave me a heads up on that one. And then, like I said, the cardboard was, that was when the cardboard was Thursday. And, who did the cleanup? Was it Mercer County or was it us?
it's county road,
Because Tushwire is a county road.
county road.
Right.
But we in turn, you know, made the phone calls to the county to prompt them to get it taken care of.
Well, you were much more impressive than I, because I had called 2 or 3 times, and they didn't do anything. But, I mean,
We had
last
some of our
Thursday,
crews,
I mean, it was,
we had some of our crews out there too, but always that, Public Works, the director there will reach out to the county well as, yeah, I think a lot of people reached out to the county at that point because it was mostly the county's areas
Right.
that had to do it.
Because I was gonna call them and say how pleased I was, what a great job they did, but I didn't want to make sure it was them and not us that did it.
Well, you know what, what's nice though is when we hear about it, whether it's yourself coming to a council meeting or getting a phone call from a resident or somebody sending us an email about a problem, one thing I've noticed about this council is, they might not get it the next day, but somebody's gonna go out there and check it out. And I think everybody does it with due diligence to make sure that, you know, if there's a problem in a certain area, that we're gonna ride through it. I know myself, and I'm sure others did, you know, rode in that area in particular, just to check it out and to verify, hey, we got a problem here. I know they took mattresses out of there, they took cardboard out of there, plastic out of there, so, you know, the county, along with the assistance of, did a great job cleaning up that. This is a big team.
So, I will call Mercer County tomorrow and tell them how they did. Very pleased with that. I don't remember the last time that road's been that clean, to tell you the truth, but they went along the guardrail, the top, they know where the light is. That was like total junk, and I actually saw the person cleaning stuff up there, and then I didn't think they could do it. Congolium got cleaned up. I mean, Congolium looked horrific, and now it is, and that was Mercer County too? Or that was us?
That was, some of it was us, if it was on the public right-of-way portion, but most of it was the owners who, they were notified as well.
Well, they finally, I mean, because it was, you saw, it was disgusting, and now it's like crystal clean, so thank you, Musher, you get 8+ for following through.
Anyone else from the public? Steve, come on up.
Steve Clay, Wolfpack Road. Big surprise, I'm not going to talk about the animal shelter or animal control. Actually, I wanted to talk about the roads. I was going to bring it up, and it's odd that she brought this up as well. But in 2020, like Chuddy said, we did buy a system to go out and automatically map our roads. Is that still being used? And because I know when it was the first year, there was a PowerPoint presentation put online, and there was a snapshot of the status of our road. But this is there any reason not to be able to allow the public to see this system? I mean, they should be able to click on the road and see it, or at a minimum, take regular snapshots of the status of our road so we can see, are we getting our money's worth, are things changing, where they're changing, like you said, is she really being excluded, or for what? But we should be able to just quickly look on and see what the status of the road is. System, it does that very well. I know other areas that go on and drill into the road and say, hey, your road's rated this. If it's wrong, you think the road's crappy, then you can call the township and get that addressed. Is there any way we could look into that?
So, Steve, if my memory serves, that was a one-time service, and what we were doing with that was level setting. So we wanted to, you're looking at me like I'm wrong.
Was it a one-time service that you did for every 3 years, right? So we have to continue,
Once every 3 years?
I recall, but I can't remember off the top.
We're gonna have to look up this specific, we don't own the technology.
Oh, that's what I asked. Were we still using that?
Yeah,
That's
it's,
kind of a nod. I assume that we were.
So, no, it's my recollection, the same thing, that it was a one-time thing that year that set the rating for every road in the town. And we used that. Now, I don't remember whether it was 3 years or 5 years that we were going to reassess after that. I'm not positive, so, but we can get that question. We'll ask that question and find out. And as far as access to the ratings, I don't know if they ever put that up on the website or anything else. I don't know what format it's in to be able to do that, so we can certainly inquire about that as well.
Thank you, Steve. We'll find out.
Well, 3 years now.
Any other, please?
Hi, Michelle Tarancic, 64 Crest Avenue.
Okay, I have a question. I've heard that the Coosa Road warehouse is under consideration again. Is that true?
That'll probably be coming in front of the planning board again.
nothing's changed since last year. This is still the wrong place for this type of project. It's nothing but residential. You know, the master plan for redevelopment was a good opportunity to zone this area or remove it from sale for this type of development. Whoever dropped the ball on this matter should be tarred and feathered and run out of town without their pension. The people in this area are very angry, and I've heard comments from them that if this is approved, they will blame council and mayor for this and vote accordingly. And is this what we want for our community? Do we want warehouses everywhere in the middle of residential areas? Is this what we want our area to become? Instead of a suburban area?
I was on planning board when I voted this down,
I know you are.
and it's a horrible plan, it's a horrible project. I would have to turn to our legal department for this was taken to court, correct?
Yeah.
And we lost. The judge overruled us.
Yeah, so so it's actually a really long order that I was trying to see that I have up in my computer. Basically, there was only a technicality that the judge basically sent it back down. It's about the amended re-exam report, so it sent it back down. So it's just technicality that can be remedied again.
What does that mean, Alyssa? I'm not understanding what you're saying. A technicality that can be remedied again. Can you put that in layman's terms?
That's who was voting at the time, and so it just needs to be voted on again with, we're talking about different case?
Different. We're talking Cooser Road, not Stanberry Way.
Cruiser Road, there are two plots of land, one of which they came and wanted from the setback variances. It was voted down. They took us to court for that.
The only one they won, I believe, was the only one we won was the exception for the fire trucks could not get to one side of the building.
I remember that.
So they were supposed to bring it back. It's not the same plan allegedly, but there's been nothing presented. So we're still waiting for it to be presented to the planning board as well. But the judge shot that part of it down. We won that part, but everything else we lost.
How come it wasn't rezoned in the interim when the Mercer plan was reviewed? Was that illegal to do?
No, it wouldn't have been illegal for us to rezone it.
Who dropped the ball?
We all did.
Well, I wouldn't go that far because I don't know if it was illegal to do, I said I wouldn't go that far because if it was an act of litigation, I'm not sure that something could have been done. I don't handle that litigation because I don't represent that part of the township. And so I'm working at a disadvantage because I'm like literally pulling up stuff on my email as we speak. I do know that the Cooser, I have emails from Cooser about Cooser Road, and it looks like it's now under appeal.
Does that not say matter?
It might be. I have an email from council that says Cooser Road has been appealed. So, so I don't know, again, whether we could have done anything with the master plan and the zoning because the application was already in.
But it had been denied.
I understand that, but there's
Legality.
When there's pending litigation.
Pending litigation on the application, and so, you know, the application is valid at the time that the application is made.
That's a valid point.
I know.
So,
If you remember, I don't think that we all dropped the ball. I said, let's take a step back here. If you remember when Congolium went, we did the overlay, right? Because there was already plans that were submitted. So it's not a matter of us dropping the ball. It's a matter of, there was things that were our application submitted. We can't just go back in time and say, erase that and say, hey, forget you handled that one in. It was already submitted.
How much
property?
How much time before there's the next planning board meeting that this issue is on, will this document be available for public? What's the requirement?
I'm not sure yet if it's on the agenda for the
13th, but I know it's going to be on the agenda soon.
I know.
So it's been, from what I understand, I haven't seen the plan yet, okay, but I hear it's been changed.
You have to approve it first before it goes to planning?
No, it's got to go to planning first.
Okay.
Then it'll come back in front of council.
Communities would like to see how the plans are changed too, so that they can address.
Would it be,
Why would it come to
yeah, why
council?
would it be, come before council?
That's right, you're not changing,
Wouldn't.
you're
Yeah,
not
we would-
changing the zoning.
Yeah, we never,
Yeah, no, no,
I don't know.
no, it won't, that's right.
It's not coming to council. It's
It's
only.
only if we
then-
change, if we did the zoning change, then it would come to council to approve.
Which is very important to the one. But anyway, so you don't know the exact time frame where the documents will be available for public? Like, is it?
Well, we don't even know what agenda it's going to be on, so
Yeah,
we
and-
can't
and
say.
If it's currently being appealed, it's going to the appellate court before it's even coming back to the planning board.
So it'll be some time?
It might be some time.
We're going to have to get some clarity, Michelle.
Yeah.
So if you like, I can call you or one of us can call you and just give you some clarity about what agenda it's going to be on and what documents are available.
The public definitely wants to look at the plans too. See how it affects their,
The public's entitled to look at them, so we'll make sure you have access.
okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public have anything else they'd like to discuss? Feel free to come on back up. Seeing none, I'll turn it over to council comments. We'll start with Councilwoman Phillips.
Like I'm talking to a stadium. I'll keep my comments brief, but thank you very much to our residents for coming out and bringing so many even new issues to our attention so that we can address them. That's how you have to be our eyes and ears sometimes. So we appreciate it. Thank you, Janice, for following up and giving us the good feedback as well. Thank you, Rick, for reminding me of the art show. If you did make it out, we have some really, really talented students in our district. If you didn't get a chance to see, make sure you go next year. And I know we have the Azalea Festival coming up. Is it May 12th?
It's Sunday, so.
It's Saturday.
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 It's the 13th.
Yeah. So it's the day before Mother's Day.
Starts at
So
10
we'll hold
a.m.
out for the weather to be good this year so that we can have that. And again, just thank you and everybody have a good night.
14th.
No, it should be the 13th.
Oh,
though.
Saturday, oh, that's the
Saturday
rain date, I'm
13th.
sorry. Saturday, May.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. It's been a while.
Councilman Tom?
Yeah. I have to concur with Councilwoman Phillips. Saying Gardens is one of the most beautiful spots in our township. And anyone who hasn't visited, I highly recommend it. I also recommend going to another one of our beautiful parks with your children this Saturday to Cooser Park. There's going to be a visit by the Easter Bunny at Cooser Mansion, another one of our beautiful spots in the township. So I encourage everyone to go out and enjoy that. Additionally, last night was the kickoff of the spring athletic season over at Veterans Park. It was the start of the Patriot Games. There are going to be several events over the next week or so, highlighting our high school athletes. Last night, several veterans and graduates of our Hamilton high schools were honored at the kickoff of the baseball season. Otherwise, thank you everyone for coming out, and I look forward to seeing everybody soon.
Councilman Carbone?
thank you all for coming out this evening. Just wanted to mention, I didn't get a chance to do this at the previous meeting because unfortunately I wasn't unable to attend. But wearing my county hat, Mercer County, through our Office of Economic Development, is offering the Mercer County Small Business Grant Program. If you know a business in Mercer County, 20 or less employees, that was established prior to September 1st, 2019, we have funding for that business, and there's been many, I have to say, participating Hamilton businesses in the grant program. So just want to spread the word regarding that, and continue. If you go to hair salon, nail salon, whatever you frequent, please remember passing along that message. In addition, yesterday I was able to attend with Councilman Pepero, Hamilton Township's Fire Division promotion ceremony. It was a beautiful event. We had 7 battalion chiefs and 8 captains sworn in. So it was a really great event, and see those young men and older gentlemen as well take on those new posts. So thank you all for coming out this evening.
Thank you. I also just want to congratulate all the firefighters who were promoted. I know the promotions were held up due to the civil service to the testing and everything else, so that was nice to see so many people promoted. Also wanted to congratulate our finance department and thank them for all their hard work, but they took off. So if you can pass our message on for them. And before I get to my last thing, just want to thank everybody. I know we're going to be together a lot with all the budget hearings. Going to be hopefully not too many late nights, but I feel privileged to work with the best team. Very happy to be working with all of you and getting through another budget season. I know we're going to have some fun while we get a lot of hard work done. Always have a lot of laughs, and I just want to thank you for that. And you're not doing anything. Thursday at 5 p.m., Limewood Park, there was a playground built. And I was fortunate enough to take part in it. It's from an organization called Where Angels Play. Unfortunately, they have the job of going around to different parks. This will be the 60th playground they've built around the country. And they go around to where there's tragedies in society, and they build playgrounds to mark those tragedies and to make it more of a positive experience. Unfortunately, as we're building it, we had the Nashville shooting, and that's going to be one of the next ones on their calendar. This organization is made up of retired police officers, active police officers, retired firefighters, active firefighters, victims, families of victims from these tragic events. And the first day we started the playground, there was 100 people there, and we got most of the playground built in one day. We had people come donate food. We had people cooking the food for the volunteers. It was a project that started at 7 a.m. and most people didn't leave until after 5 p.m. 100 people working together from different walks of life. I'm happy to say that the 61st one, even though it's a tragedy, is going to be in May, and I'm going to go up to Connecticut and help with that one also. So it's very nice feeling to be able to see this, especially to come in the wake of a tragedy. If you're not doing anything, 5 o'clock, it's going to be a very big ceremony. It's a coming together for a little boy who tragically lost his life, and it's going to be a celebration of his life and good remembrance. So if you're not doing anything, 5 o'clock on Thursday, I'll say it one more time, please come out and join us. Have a good night. Thank you for coming out and giving us the information. We can't be everywhere, and without you, we're nothing. So thank you.
Yeah, and just like Pat said, there was, the Limewood Drive Park that was built was a tremendous day. And to see people from around the country that came, parents from the Sandy Hook shooting, people in Tennessee, people just that volunteer their time to help an endeavor like this is it's pretty nice to see a community come together. And to tell you the truth, that in record time, what was it, 2 days, 2.5 days?
We finished the playground in one day.
But the finishing touches, yeah. So, I mean, it came out nice. If you have the chance even just to drive by it, you could really appreciate the way it looks. They did a fantastic job. On another note, we had the, confirmed tornado that hit in different various areas, not only in Hamilton, but different parts of the county, I guess towards Burlington County, like Chesterfield area. The Miracle League, which everybody I'm sure is familiar with over at Sawmill, had a lot of damage to it. It looks like it's going to hold up. They're starting their outdoor programs that they run for the Miracle League, maybe for a few weeks until they could get the necessary repairs done. So hopefully, and anybody, matter of fact, I think a person lost a roof. So some people got affected by this. It was pretty sad to see. We've seen trees down. There was even after effects because it was windy. Sunday. I think I was coming down Yarville Square Road. I went down, heading towards Yardville, and on the way back, there was a tree across the road. So, when you get the rains and the winds and the roots get loose, it's not too hard for a tree to come down. And thankfully, nobody was hurt there. But again, like the rest of the council said, appreciate everybody coming out. We appreciate your comments, suggestions, and keeping us aware of what's going on. And be safe out there. And we've had some nice weather starting today, so hopefully it continues. With that, we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you. Yes, that's right. Happy Easter to everybody.
Happy Passover.
Passover, however you celebrate the holiday.
Here's your pen back, Allison.
So, I don't know the answer to that.
Oh,